Oh boy, another disappointing result at Villa Park once again. 1-0 loss to Villa. The villains. Somebody somewhere has to have come up with that one before. I've actually never heard anybody call them the villains, but
yeah,
somebody somewhere has to have done that. It's way too easy to have not done that.
Well, we wouldn't have this problem if we would have relegated them last season, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, but we're going to get into player ratings right after this. So how are you? It's early one for you. What is it, about 6:30 in the morning over there?
Yeah, 6:30. I'm numb. Yeah. So it's like, whatever.
Yeah, I gotta turn around. I gotta go to work after this. So
yeah,
just we're done recording this. I'm off to work.
Out.
So, let's you want to take we'll start obviously as we always do with the goalkeeper Matt Ryan. You want to start, or do you want me to take the reins?
Yeah, I'll start. Best player on the pitch. If he was not on point, we would have been down much more. At least 2 or 3 goals. So Arsenal debut, did a really good job, really solid. I'm gonna give him an 8. I think he did well.
Wow. Little generous on the 8, I think. But everything you said, I wholeheartedly agree with. I'm giving him a 7. I'm just not, I mean, he really, really showed well today on his debut. I mean, a guy comes into the team, first start, for his boyhood club. I mean, let's not forget, he grew up, an Arsenal supporter. So this is a big deal for him. Goal was not his fault, I didn't think. He did everything he could to keep us in this game with some boneheaded defensive errors on our end. So I'm giving him a 7. That just has more to do with the fact that we didn't win, and that's not even really his fault. But I'm kind of punishing him for it, I guess. But I'm giving him a 7. Okay. Hector Bellerin.
Go ahead.
Grealish didn't abuse him as much as I thought he would. Actually, I'm not pleasantly surprised, because I'm on the one hand, Bellerin he's running off in attack. Hector Bellerin is actually running into space. He's actually making good moves. The problem is he leaves the back, his position, so exposed. Bellerin gets a 5 from me, average. He did some good things. I don't like how exposed he left the right back position. I wish Tony Adams would grab a hold of him and treat him like Lee Dixon and say, look, go, you figure that out first before you start doing this. That said, Hector Bellerin has a tendency to look dangerous with the ball at his foot, in attack. I give him a 5. I don't think he did anything to really hurt us. He didn't do anything to really help. We didn't score from any of the runs that he made. Same thing I said after the last game. He didn't do none of the runs that he made where I'm sitting there and I'm kind of, inching towards the edge of my seat with Bellerin making these runs and then nothing. So Hector gets a 5 from me.
Well, I don't want to dock him too much for him coming out of his pocket and leaving us exposed, because that is coached by Arteta. He had made a change in the second half to release Hector and try to get additional people into the offense. So it's not really his fault that he leaves the defense exposed. That's more Arteta's fault for instructing him to do that, knowing that he doesn't have recovery pace anymore. What I will say is great goal scoring opportunities turn into innocuous opportunities to me when the ball gets to Hector Bellerin's foot and he makes the wrong decision in terms of his final ball. It's either a floaty ball that could have easily been passed along the ground, to the 6 yard, or it just doesn't make it. or it's a really soft shot that if he just puts his laces through it, he'd probably score. So if he's going to be put in these dangerous positions and we're not going to get anything out of it, it's just a waste to me. It's been a waste this entire season as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to give Hector a 4. No quality out there for me from him. And there's no point in him going forward like that anymore.
Gabrielle, can't wait to hear this one.
I mean, I think him and Holding were shaky and they didn't have a great game, especially in the first half. I don't necessarily blame him for the goal because, I mean, that you could really just plop that right down on Cedric and probably Holding because he wasn't close enough to the man. It was just a bobble all back there by those 3 boneheads. So, let's just say I would give him probably a 4 as well. I think just below average.
I'm with you there. The thing, if you go back and you watch the goal, Gabriel actually looks at Cedric and tells him where to put the ball. Mm-hmm. He's putting his hand out like, here's where I want the ball, and then he stopped. And it's crazy to me because they both speak Portuguese. Mm-hmm. So where's the communication? Because I'm going to blame Cedric as well, and we'll get there. But I'm with you on the 4 because after the goal, he really didn't do anything to. He was where he needed to be. He was relatively solid from that point forward. I minus barring the goal, he probably would get a 6 from me. It wasn't spectacular, but because of the goal, the lack of communication, he's getting a 4 from me. So
okay,
Rob Holding.
Match it up. 4.
You may laugh at this, but I'm giving him a 5, and I'm giving him a 5 because of the work that he did. So being away from Ollie Watkins and leaving him open was dropping him. But then in attack in the second half, he was up there and he was trying to create things. He was getting his head on the ball, and yes, I understand the shot wasn't on target. He was up there. He was making things happen offensively. He had a nice little play on the ball. I can't remember who it was for Aston Villa that he took the ball. It was McGinn, where he patted him on the shoulder like, hey, buddy, good job. And McGinn fell down like he was sniped from the 7th row. So Holding for me, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt by giving him 5. But I'm giving him the 5, and I like Rob Holding, so there might be a little bit of bias in that. I'm not going to lie to you, but I'm giving him a 5.
Yeah, he's getting a 4 for me. Pair him up. He was at fault for the goal as well. He lost the ball in criminal areas, playing around with it towards the end of the game. I get that he was up in attack. I mean, everybody was up in attack trying to make things happen, but nothing came off because we had 0 quality going forward today. So, I mean, you tried, but your main job, you failed at that today. So 4, period.
Yeah. Cedric.
Well, I didn't see the part that you said that, Gabriel had pointed to pass there, but, Cedric is an experienced player. And so I'm going to dock him a lot harder for making just bonehead mistakes. And then also you did absolutely nothing to fix it. You were crap in the final third. You were crap in buildup. You kept giving the ball away, and you reminded us every single time that you touched the ball that you were right-footed. Like, it was just so painful to watch him play left back today, where it hasn't been the last couple games because there was quality there. So I'm going to give him a 3.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with Cedric. I'm at a 3. Everything you said, and I'm not absolving him of blame for the goal by any stretch of the imagination. It's an awful pass, and even if I'm not sure, even if Gabriel keeps coming to the ball on the goal, I'm not sure he gets there. I'm not sure he gets there. Who was it? Traore who got the ball? He just came in, he was flying. I'm not sure Gabriel gets there regardless. So even though Gabriel may have pointed, well, it seemed to me like he was pointing that's where he wanted the ball.
What are they doing back there, though? You're in the first minute of the game. Slam it up the freaking field. They weren't awake.
Yep, I'm with you on the 3. Just absolutely poor from Cedric today. So we've gone now over the span of three games. We've gone from this guy can fill in at left back for Kieran Tierney to please, for the love of God, let Kieran Tierney get healthy and get back into this team and stay healthy, because good God, we need him.
Yeah.
Granit Xhaka. For a while, I was actually going to give Granit Xhaka my man of the match. Another not excellent, but above average game from Granit Xhaka. The shot that he had, I'm not sure that shot's going in, that from that free kick. I think it's actually going to hit the crossbar. Mm-hmm. Full marks to Emi Martinez for making a save on that at full stretch. But that's knowing your opponent too. That's knowing exactly what Granit Xhaka does in those situations. He can sit there and, Emi Martinez can do this all he wants. He knows where Granit Xhaka is going to try to put that ball. He knows exactly where he's going to try to put that ball. But I'm giving Xhaka a 7. Matt Ryan is my man of the match for us today. But Granit Xhaka's up there. It was a good game from him. I think another good game. So I'm giving Xhaka a 7.
Yeah, I'm going to give Xhaka a 7, but I'm also, I'm just going to pair him up with Thomas Partey. Unfortunate with the injury, but yeah. I don't think they did much wrong in this game. I think if I have to place some of the frustration, it's more in the forward players. There was a lack of movement, and Thomas and Xhaka were clearly instructed not to push as far forward because Aston Villa are really good on the break. So with no movement, they did as good as they could. And I'm going to give them both a 7 for another solid performance. They did very little wrong in there. I can't really blame either of them for this loss. 7s for both.
We're going to keep it moving because I'm with you on everything you just said about Partey. Unfortunate with the injury. Didn't look, I think maybe just tweaked something when he came off and Arteta Arteta said something to him and he kind of nodded his head. I'm hoping that was, hey, you okay? Are you going to be okay? And that was yeah, boss, I'll be all right. So hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, and in the midfield, once again, this pairing now starting to, gain some traction in terms of chemistry and knowing and consistency, knowing where each other are going to be and working well off one another. So I'm with you there. Bukayo Saka, again, kid it just keeps impressing. It's at what point do we say, okay, this is expected now? So if you start, for me, if you start at a 5, that's average. This is now his level. So what we get from him today, and I give him a 7. What I get from him today, this is now the level. So now this is average for him. So now he's got to step it up a notch to really get above. Next week, if he has a game like this, like he did today, he might get a 5 or a 6 from me, just because that's okay, this is your baseline now. You know what I mean? And I'm not knocking him. Please don't take it as I'm knocking the kid. I'm not. I'm saying he's setting the bar high, which is good. So, but for me, Bukayo Saka, one of the best players on the pitch today, but he gets a 7 from me. And the versatility for a kid going from the right side in attack to the left side in defense. Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 7 as well. He was kicked to death today. So, yeah. I mean, a lot of what he could have done was really muted by him getting fouled. But what I will say is that, he's so dangerous that they have to kick him, which is important for us because now we know we have somebody who's super dangerous. But what that also shows you is that they don't really rate Pepe and Lacazette because they weren't kicking them down. Right. So when one of your players, your most influential player, is being kicked the way that he's being kicked, the other players need to up their level. And when we get to their ratings, we can talk about that,
Yeah. Moving through the middle, Emile Smith-Rowe.
So I don't want to be harsh on Smith-Rowe just because I know that a lot of this performance, or lack of a performance to me, is because of the fact that he's tired. I thought he should have been rested today. I think Odegaard should have started. I stand by that because Emile's like his dynamism and his little, sprinty, busy, pass it here, pass it there. It's been a little sluggish, and that's because of his physical inability to like play at this level that many minutes, over a stretch of time. So I don't want to be harsh, but I'm going to give him a 5. I think he was average.
Yep. Spot on. I think he's tired. He's tired. I'm giving him a 5. Average performance. God did get into some dangerous areas and looked like he could create something, but I think the fatigue.
If he's fresh, he makes some of those. He's not fresh anymore.
Right. So it may come across as harsh. People hear 5 and they're like, "Oh my God, he had a bad game." No, 5 is average. 5 is average. You had an average game. When you get to 4, now you're below average. So, but 5 is a good number, I think.
And he's a 20-year-old just coming to the first team, so he's going to have games like this, So it's not a big deal.
I mean, I want him to have 7s and 8s, but every now and then, if you get a 5 from Emile Smith-Rowe, I mean, especially right now, I think you kind of have to just take that in stride and accept it. Like you said, kid's 20 and he's played 90 minutes in the last at least 2 games. Played all 90 on against Wolves on Tuesday, I think.
Yeah.
So
he's tired.
Chalk it up to fatigue for him, but still, you know what? You maintained. Pepe, tale of two halves. Boy, I was going to wreck him at the end of the first half. He started to come on at the end of the first half too. I was going to wreck him. Because of the first half, I'm good. Because the second half was, boy, he was dangerous. But he's that IQ that you have so aptly put with him is the biggest issue for him. I'm giving Pepe a 6, and I'm basically splitting the difference between the two halves because I thought he was pretty poor in the first half, but I thought he was one of the most dangerous players in the second half. So like I said, I'm going to kind of split the difference, and I'm going to give him a 6.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to what I've kind of been preaching since the beginning of the season is that when you have players like Pepe, when we get in a position where we're playing against a low block, it really stops players like Pepe's ability to affect the game because he doesn't have space and he has to beat 4 or 5 players to get to the goal instead of having to just beat one in space. So once we went down a goal, to me, that was about it. All they had to do was kind of sit back, and they have really good one-on-one defenders. It wasn't like playing against Semedo, who's a terrible one-on-one defender. Their Target and Matty Cash are good defenders. So having backup and having the midfielders come in and block passing lanes and block Pepe off really stopped him from being super dangerous. He was still dangerous in some points, but then here comes the decision-making again, the lack of footballing IQ, the lack of composure to just slip it in to the 6 to somebody. He's just slamming it onto the side of the net. It's just, he's frustrating. It was a frustrating game. So I'm going to give him the level has went so up. I would give him a 6, but because I've seen what he can do, I'm going to give him a 5.5. Fair.
Lacazette, another one I can't wait to hear.
We carried him. He disappeared in this game. He had a really good opportunity in the first half to slip Pepe in on goal simply, and he made the wrong decision. And I expect him at this point to make the right decision. Other than that, did he have a shot on goal? I don't think so. I don't think he really affected the game that much. He looked a little sluggish as well. And, he's an experienced player, one of our leaders. I expect more, especially when Saka is getting kicked. I'm going to need you to do a little bit more, so I'm going to give him a 5.
Wow. I'm actually surprised you went that high. I'm giving him a 4. Didn't affect the game at all. Was way too deep. I don't know that he ever got into the box. I'm sure he did. I don't know that he ever got into the box. He just seemed to play so deep. He wasn't dangerous. He had a few nice turns on the ball, but he was invisible. And the poor decision to hold on to the ball when he could have released Pepe, but then to compound that with trying to make a pass to Bukayo Saka when I'm pretty sure it was Tyrone Mings in front of him, and he just put the ball right into Mings' foot. It's like, okay, here you go. We're tired now. We're tired now. We've run enough. We're tired here. You guys go back the other way. A poor from Lacazette today. I'm giving him a 4. He did nothing positive in my opinion.
And really quick, just before we get to the subs, I just want to just say this really quick. We need a striker in the summer. I don't care what happens, but we need a striker that will actually be dangerous. Nobody's afraid of our strikers. That's apparent to me. And they didn't even, when we get to Aubameyang, we'll talk about it more, but we need a striker that actually wants to head the ball.
Yeah. So speaking of, we're coming to him right now and take it away. Oh, no, wait, it's to me first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. He got his head on one ball. He almost got his foot on a cross from Saka. But other than that, what did he do? I don't remember him really touching the ball even. And he played a half hour. I mean, he was invisible. So I mean, you know what? Because he is who he is, because he comes with the pedigree that he comes with. He's getting a 4 from me. He's getting a 4. It's not that he did anything to negatively impact us, but he didn't do anything to positively impact us. Mm-hmm. And this comes with expectations, and he has to be better than this. So for me, he's getting. I was tempted to give him a 5 just because, again, that's average, that's baseline, but you got to do more than that. If you can't get yourself above a 5, I'm docking you for that. So he gets the 4.
Yeah. I'm gonna give him go ahead and give him the 5. He was average as hell. And I'm tired of watching him close his eyes on headers, and people, I know people want to say, like, headers are not high XG and all that kind of stuff, but if your eyes are open and you try to head it, they're higher XG, you have a better chance of scoring them. And he's just not dangerous. The only player that the other team is actually afraid of on our team is Saka. And that's a problem, because we're paying 2 strikers right now about $50,000 a week, about $500,000 a week altogether. And the other team is not even scared of them.
Yeah. I'm kind of, well, you get to go first on Odegaard. I'm kind of glad, because I want to hear what you got to say.
Oh, okay. So, I think he came in a difficult part of the game when we were just kind of throwing everything forward. He should have started this game. I'm going to stand by that. Smith Rowe was dead on his feet from minute 1. So seeing how busy he was, and that he did have a chance to score, and he was decent in possession. The time that him and Emile Smith Rowe were trying to connect right outside of our box, don't do that in the Premier League. You're going to get stripped. I think as he plays more, he will get better. He didn't affect the game a lot, but I saw what he was trying to do, and he was getting into good positions, and ultimately they weren't finding him. He was in good positions, and he came in a difficult period of the game where we were really trying to win and throw things forward. I mean, at one point, Bellerin was stepping on his toes in the center of the pitch.
Yes.
What the hell are you doing all the way up there? So I'm going to give Odegaard, I'm going to give him a 5.5. He was average. He didn't affect the game too much. He didn't do anything diabolical, but I'm going to give him a little bit higher than just 5, because I think he was doing the right things, but we were shitting the bed.
I agree with everything you just said. I'm giving him the 6. I actually think he was going to come on for Emile Smith Rowe. I think the Partey injury changed the trajectory, changed that up. So I'm giving him a 6. You can see it with this kid. You really can. And the more he plays, the better he's going to be. And you can really, I think everybody can really see his quality. And it was a shame that he couldn't keep that ball down when it came to the ball. If you go back and watch, the ball just comes up off the ground and he gets his foot under it. I mean, if he would have scored that, I probably would have broken my TV.
Yeah, he needs to play more. Yeah. And next game I expect him to start. This silly playing Emile Smith Rowe into the ground, it's not working. It didn't work for us today. So just start him next game against Leeds.
Yeah. We get a week off, so don't we?
Yeah, we do. We have like that weird week. Yeah.
Yeah, we get a full week off. Yeah, we can talk about that later. I get to take Willian.
Who?
Right. Just enough already with this. 3. We're giving him a 3. I mean, he nothing. He's actively slowing down the play. He's slowing down the buildup. I could do an entire show on what I think the problem with this team is, at least in terms of coaching. And Willian is taking it to the extreme. Arteta wants to play a possession-based game. Get into the opposition's half, work the ball around, pass. He wants to win the possession battle. Well, guess what? That doesn't win points. That's fantastic. You had 80% possession. What do you have to show for it? Nothing.
Yeah.
And Willian takes that and he's like, whoa, boys, we're going too fast. Too many of you are too wide open. You might score a goal. Slow down.
Yeah.
We need to kick the ball back to the goalkeeper. We need to start back there. We need to do it the right way. He just done. And yeah, done. 3.
Willian's getting my customary NA, not applicable. Sorry. I'm tired of rating him. I don't have much. He was shooting the ball when they had 11 men right in front of him.
Yep.
Like, what are you doing there? Like, He's just kind of like a bonehead. He's another one that lacks football IQ, in my opinion. We have too many. We don't have enough thinkers on the field. We have too many, just bodies, and that's a problem. So, yeah, we'll get on to Arteta, but that was not the sub to make.
Well,
NA.
You get to go on Arteta right now.
Okay, Mikel, I love you so much. I do. But I'm starting to worry about what does he do before the game and at practice to galvanize the team to make sure games like the Wolves game doesn't effectively make us drop more points. We've dropped 6 points because of one bad decision by a ref or one innocuous decision by a ref. It continues too much, and we weren't energetic. There was no anything. It was just dead, so we can give him a little, maybe that's just the players. Maybe that's just that. But then the game starts to go a little bit longer. You can see Emil Smith-Rowe is not ready. He's so dead on his feet. Why is Odegaard not starting? Why? And I just think that some of the substitutions just don't make sense. You put in Aubameyang. Nobody can get the ball to Aubameyang. How is he going to win the ball off of Tyrone Mings and Konsa? He has no physical ability to beat those center backs. Why are you bringing him on? Bring Martinelli on. Martinelli, okay, he had a bad half against Manchester United, but what he does have is he has the ability to affect the game when we're behind. If we're behind, don't bring Aubameyang on. I'm sorry. He's just not the player to bring on when you need something. The substitutions have been criminal in the last 2 games for me, from Arteta. He has to start getting that right. And it's just, I love him. I want it to work out and all that kind of stuff, but I still have questions about his ability to get the team up for games, mentally, and his substitutions and in-game management. So for this game, I got to give Arteta like a 4. I think he got the initial lineup okay, but Odegaard should have started. Smith-Rowe is dead. Don't bring Aubameyang on when we need something. Don't bring Willian on when we need something. Just don't.
The starting lineup, I'm indifferent on the Odegaard starting. I understand why he didn't. I get it. I don't like it, but I think to a degree it is what it is. He's been here a week. So I can understand where Arteta's head is at, but if he's ready to play him. And let's see because in the worst case scenario, give him a half hour, and if it's just not working, if it's too soon, yank him. and bring in ESR. I didn't have that big of a problem with the Aubameyang for Lacazette. I'll be honest, I actually kind of liked it. I actually thought he got that right, because what else do you do there?
But who's going to get the ball to Aubameyang?
Well, but who's getting the ball to Lacazette? So,
Lacazette actually can at least come back and get the ball.
But he wasn't. So I think there should have been a bit of a change in philosophy in terms of how to go forward with, instead of the hold-up play, try to find those avenues for Aubameyang. It's a catch-22.
Why not?
Lacazette was doing nothing. He was doing next to nothing. So bring Aubameyang on fresh legs and see if he can run around and tire that back line out and break it down.
When has Aubameyang ever tired anybody out, though? He's not a runner. He does not work hard. So Martinelli was the choice.
Well,
sorry.
See, but then what do you do at the end when you brought on Willian? That's where now again. So you're going to make that third substitute. So who are you bringing on then? You bring Aubameyang on then? I mean, there's nobody else on the bench. There's nobody else on the bench that you can bring on. And there's really nobody else in the squad to bring on that's going to have a positive influence in attack. So the thing for me, where he got the subs wrong for me, was Willian instead of Martinelli. Martinelli should have come on, because Martinelli's the guy that's going to go forward. He's going to get the ball and run forward. Whereas
is there something wrong with bringing on Ceballos? Is there something?
I'm not even sure he was on the bench.
He was.
Was he?
I think so.
I mean, if he was and he didn't bring him on,
don't bring on. Here's my thing: is when you're in a game and you need a goal, and the team is sitting back in the box, 11 men behind the ball. You bring on more thinkers. You don't bring on more boneheads. That's what I'm saying. No. Ceballos would have at least been able to slip the balls through into the strikers. I just think that sometimes we have too many boneheads out there at once, and Willian is one of them.
Yeah. Arteta gets a 4 from me. The subs, the Odegaard sub notwithstanding, like I said, I didn't have a big issue with the Aubameyang sub, but the Willian instead of Martinelli sub for me kind of killed it for me. And it's his tactical approach to this. He needs to look at this team and realize what this team's strengths are, and he's not playing to them. He's forcing the square peg in the proverbial round hole. Enough with this already. You need to worry about winning games, not instilling your philosophy on players who aren't fit to play your style. So you need to change up tactics and fit their style until you get the players in that fit your style. So, for me, it's the Willian instead of Martinelli sub. The tactics, Arteta's getting a 4. Last one, the official, Chris Kavanagh.
Don't say it. Don't say
it. Everybody got mad about the Bukayo Saka. It should have been a red card, blah, blah, blah. I mean, David Luiz's shouldn't have been a red card. It should not have been a red card, and this instance wasn't a red card. So, in my opinion, the referee got this right. You can say, but if had it been the other way around, it would have been, okay, sure. But now you're talking about consistency. But in the moment, and he got the call right. He absolutely got that call right. It's a yellow card. The ball was up for grabs. Bukayo Saka had not won clear possession, nor was he clear of the player. They were practically neck and neck. Bukayo Saka had a step. At most, he had a step. That's not clear-cut possession, nor a clear and obvious goal-scoring opportunity. It is a yellow card. The ref got it right. I don't like the fact that he was letting the Villa players just beat the piss out of Bukayo Saka all day long.
No yellow cards.
Yellow card.
The only one who got one was Konsa.
I think they had, 3?
They found him quite a bit.
Chris Kavanagh, for me, wish he would have been a little more harsh on the Bukayo Saka challenges that he took, but nothing egregious, in my opinion. I didn't think there was anything real egregious, but I'm giving him a 4.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't as bad as Kevin Friend,
he wasn't anywhere near as bad as Kevin Friend.
Or the loser from the last game. Right. Whatever. 4.
Yeah. 5 is average. If you get it all right, if he gets everything right, that 5 goes up. The official's never really going to get above a 6 or a 7 for me. Because even if he gives a call in our favor and it's the wrong call, I'm going to dock him for it.
Yeah.
I'm not here to be. No, I don't want you to play favorites. I want you to call the game consistently right down the middle. The best an official should really hope for, honestly, is a 5. It could go up from there if you get every single call right. They're never going to get every call right. They're just not. So, but I didn't think Kavanaugh had a shit game. Nothing egregious. I give him a 4, and I think you gave him a 4 as well. So that's it. Mm-hmm. We got another disappointing result here. We got to get back into some form here. Hopefully, a week off will. Hopefully, we get some rest. I think right now that's probably the biggest thing. I think this team just needs some rest. Take the day off tomorrow. Hell, I'd probably tell them to stay away from Colney until Tuesday. If I were the coach, take tomorrow off. Take Monday off. Stay home. Recharge the batteries. That's what I think this team
and
needs.
Be ready to come back and win games. Like, I just don't think that we do. It's like we want to win, but we don't do enough to do it. So Arteta needs to figure out a way to galvanize the team to get them to that next level. Cause I still think we're simmering under the surface, but we don't quite get to a boil.
Yeah.
Enough.
Yep. Yep. We get right to the edge and then we take the water off the burner.
Yeah, it's like we expect it to happen, but if you look at the difference between when we went down against Southampton, there was a lot of belief that we were still going to win that game. When we went down against this team, I don't know if they have some mental lock on us because Emmy is in the goal and whatever. But when we play this team, we don't ever seem to just freaking play, and I'm not sure why. But we're going to play against Leeds. They're not a good team. They leak goals, and they'll score, but we have a good defense, so I expect us to win that game.
Yeah. I
expected us to win this one and the one before. So at some point, my expectation is going to have to become reality.
Yep. Law of averages. It will. That's all we got, guys. Thanks for watching. Drop a like, drop a subscription, leave us comments down below. Give us your player ratings. Tell us what you liked. Tell us what you didn't like, what you agreed with, what you didn't agree with.
Post-match show for Shino's Arsenal will be out tomorrow. I'm going to have Albert J TV on, so we're going to have a lot of fun with that. So look out for that. And excuse the appearance. You will never see this face again.
Really?
Yeah.
You're trying to win. What are you trying to win? A beauty contest now? All of a sudden, it's 7:00 in the morning for you. Get out of here. You're a goof. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate it, guys. Good footy talk with Jessinho. As always, we'll see you out there.